What's going on, everybody? This is Jeff with Altcoin Buzz. Today we're going to do episode 5. It's just Matt and I. We're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to talk about the Electroneum videos that I did and how I got ripped to shreds and how that was fun. And we're going to make fun of Jeff on that one. And we're going to talk about Facebook and Tether and the Red Sea that we've been having. So we're going to go over a whole bunch. Just Matt and I going back and forth. Let's go ahead and get started. How about that, Matt?
Oh, man. Hey, everybody. We had a good time this week, didn't we, with some of the comments? I think I've got you beat, Jeff. I think really some of these things we can I've got a new name. Steve from Blue's Clues. I'm going to own it. Or what do you think? You like Mr. Rogers better? Which is your
I like them both. I think Mr. Rogers is pretty good, but Steve from Blue's Clues is also I think I can see why someone would call you that, but I think that was the first video. So the last two, that now they're like, "Oh, Matt, we love you." So the way they felt about you in video 1 is totally different than how they feel about you in the last 3 videos that you've done. So
we've had some really good laughs this week. I've never been called so many different types of people and names and all that. I was called people I didn't even know that I had to type their names into YouTube and watch their videos, and I thought, yeah, I do kind of sound like that guy. Learned all kinds of stuff about myself this week.
You're like, who's Mr. Rogers? I haven't heard his voice in a while.
Won't you be my crypto neighbor? Hey, neighbor, how are you?
Yeah, I think people like Mr. Rogers though, so I don't know if that's necessarily that much of a it's more of a compliment, really. Because Mr. Rogers educated a generation.
Hey, it was common.
The names.
Yeah, we talked about the millennials this week a lot. Which, Jeff, okay, I'm gonna clear the air here. I know this guy from years ago, and he calls me all stressed out. I'm talking about Jeff here, guys. Blockchain J, and he calls me all stressed out because he really has a passion for seeing millennials learn in business and grow themselves. And this guy really cares about the whole generation coming up and what they're going to do and their future and all that. I mean, this is way before Altcoin Buzz and all this. This guy really wants to do some things for this generation. So, don't kid yourself, guys, if you're out there and you're a millennial. We got your back on this.
Yeah. Well, did you hear my new nickname is Jeff from Altcoin FUD? You like that one, huh?
I saw that one this week. One of my favorites, though, was Blockchain J parentheses midlife crisis. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Apparently, since you're Blockchain J, you're in a midlife crisis. They must think you're, I don't know what midlife is these days, but one of my favorites, you got to tell everybody. I mean, this is hilarious. We've had some other people doing videos and things like that on the Altcoin Buzz channel, which big shout out to all the team. They're doing a phenomenal job. But tell them about the guy who was ripping on you, saying you should be gotten rid of. Or something.
I had a guy who said, "Oh, Jeff, you're the worst on the whole team. They should fire you." And then they said, "You sound like an uneducated hillbilly," or something like that. And then there was another guy. I got to tell him about the second one. The second one was Electroneum to the moon, Jeff to hell. I was like, "Oh, geez, wow." I was like, "Oh man, I better just start talking about all the good things always."
Yeah.
So maybe I have to just focus on the positives, right? Maybe that's what the universe is telling me. Focus on the positives.
You don't have the heart to tell him, "Hey, buddy, you realize Jeff's the founder of the channel and grew this thing to almost 200,000 subscribers. He's one to kick
right."
But
I was like, "Oh, does that mean I got to go to Bahamas and kick back on the beach with a Mai Tai and just text you guys and say, 'Go team, go'?"
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. I was like, well, looks like I got to retire now. I've been fired from the channel, So I kind of was like, well, maybe I can go on a vacation now.
No, Now, you
Yeah.
crank out the videos.
Yeah.
We don't allow you to have vacation. People love you too much.
No
The one guy,
vacation.
lastly on this, guys, I mean, this is hilarious. You don't know how many good laughs we've had out of this week. But this guy says, I really wish you guys would put the name on the front because I only listen to Jeff. I only listen to him.
Oh,
So
jeez.
yeah. So they love you.
Oh,
And they love
jeez.
you. Speaking of love, this is cool because, Jeff and I you guys know at this point, we're just real guys. We are not trying to blow rainbows and sunshine everywhere and just sugarcoat everything. Is that good? I mean, is that the way to say it, Jeff? We don't sugarcoat anything.
Yeah, I like to say we don't live in a world where unicorns dance on green prairies consistently, and I unfortunately there just isn't unicorns on green prairies. So in reality, we have to confront these trying times. But I think you definitely having you around, it helps me to. You definitely do keep me. You help me keep my composure, I would say. So that's definitely been a blessing for me.
We definitely got to laugh, guys. When if you're new to this space and you just joined up and you started, it's not people's fault. They got into this at the end of last year because there was so much volume of news and new people in the space, and just the volume of people getting in where it was just heavy, heavy, heavy. And it's not your fault, but I just kind of want to tell everybody, and this isn't to at all to sugarcoat it, but Bitcoin wasn't even supposed to be at 10,000 right now. I mean, a normal trajectory and a nice steady growth of Bitcoin after these 9 years, after what, at the beginning of the year, we were still breaking the all-time highs at this time last year. It wasn't. I got to look on the chart.
Oh yeah, we've been going up since what? For sure, 2017 was the biggest year for cryptocurrency. I would be surprised if 2017's exponential growth could even be overcome. Going from Bitcoin thereabouts $1,000 all the way up to what it reached 20,000. Well, that was unbelievable in the growth.
You just brought it up. You said it. And I'll just put it out there and make the prediction. I mean, I really do. My calculations and the thing I look at in the markets, I think by the end of the year, we're going to be right at that 25,000 mark. We're going to hit it before the end of the year, for sure. So we can stretch like that rubber band. We can go back and forth and back and forth. But, guys, take a rubber band. If you're new to this whole game, take a rubber band, put it in your hand, and just stretch, and let it go. So the further the market stretches from a reasonable line, I'm just drawing in the air, I'm just drawing a nice, steady, upward sloping line. The more you stretch from that line, from the average, it's going to sting a little when you let that rubber band go. Now, just pull the rubber band just up a little bit. And, it doesn't hurt as bad if it drops or it snaps back. You get these snaps back, you get volatility. We're going to do a video this week on volatility. But that kind of volatility going back and forth compared to the normal stock market, compared to normal trading, this is up one day 20%, 30%. That's unheard of overall in the stock market. But in crypto, it stretches a lot further than normal. So, guys, it is 10,000. 10,000 is nothing short of miraculous right now. So, hey.
Right. So, you're saying that 25,000 by the year end. You're a big follower of Cliff High. I know that because you sent me a video of Cliff High.
Yeah.
Cliff High is saying, he says Bitcoin to 40,000 by June.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of using Fibonacci lines and Elliott wave type stuff and looking at that. And again, guys, you don't need to know all that. Candace was saying it on the last podcast, and I know Jeff says this all the time. Don't be a trader. don't go in and out of the market nonstop and get all spooked out by these big moves, little moves. We're going to talk about sound money management principles, but just speaking normal, looking at some of the lines and stuff, I wouldn't doubt if we go break those all-time highs, we stretch all the way to 25,000 or more, and he's calling for a lot more than that. I know a lot of people are calling for a lot more than that this year, as we have mass adoption. I mean, we haven't even started this year, this cycle of what I think is coming up February, March, April, May, and that one.
One question that keeps coming up always is this market being manipulated? And the reason that people are concerned about that is because if they look at the 24-hour, they see how the market just systematically, every single coin dumps at the same time. If it wasn't a bot, or if it wasn't being manipulated, so to speak, shouldn't a more natural progression of the market be like Litecoin goes down 20%, but then you have, Populous going up 15%, Ripple going up 8%, Ethereum up 2%, maybe Omise go down 4%. How come it's always everything in the red at the same time? It's like every time we look at CoinMarketCap, in the 1 hour, it's just one green or one red. You very seldomly see a red and green mixture, which has got people like, what is really going on here? Including myself. And
okay. The mature markets, mature markets we talked about this in the other video. You guys, trillions of dollars of trading in your normal markets. This whole thing is only, and I say only, but 400 or 500 billion.
Half a trillion.
A half. I mean, these are not mature markets. It's a great point, Jeff, that you're making. Why wouldn't you get these divergence from each other because these companies were standing on their own? It's just not there yet. These companies aren't mature.
Right.
They just haven't reached that level where they're moving on their own because there's not enough volume at this point. I know our listeners and people altcoin buzz feel like that it should be like that. It should be like the stock market, but it's an infant. This space is a tiny little baby right now still. But there's a lot of money coming in.
I got to be honest with you. I feel as though there is some whales, and they might just be a handful of whales that are really part of the manipulation of the market. I know no one wants to say that and believe it, and people might call me Jeff from Altcoin Fud, and that's not what I'm trying to do. but what I am saying is, like, it is awfully weird that we'll see 1 hour where everything's green, the next hour it'll be red again, and then the next hour the top 50 are red in that hourly, and I'm like, what the heck? Because it shouldn't be like that. It's yeah, and it is what it is. I mean, I could ignore it and ignore my thoughts and not say anything, and maybe I should, or maybe I shouldn't. It depends. What do you guys want me to do, right? But in terms of the market overall, I just feel like it's been a stressful month for a lot of people. I feel that weight of their stress. I don't feel it so much personally, although when the market is down, I do think that I don't eat as much, and I might not have as much of a smile on my face. But I've gotten pretty good at dealing with adversity in business. Being now that I'm 35, I'm not 25 anymore. So I deal with adversity. I walk away from it. I shut it off, and I say there's nothing I can do about it. So only time will heal this one. But I think for a lot of the people who came into the market in December, they deal with a lot of the stress right now, and I feel it. But I will say many of them are dealing with it very maturely, and professionally, more better than I would have thought they would have.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. We've got a very mature audience. You look across the spectrum, and I'm seeing some excellent comments. When you talk about money management and you start talking about what's happening, speaking like you are, Jeff, where you're like, okay, have I put only whatever I have in the market in there right now in my portfolio where I can still sleep at night? Or did I invest my entire life savings in there? And when the market goes down, I get no sleep and I can't handle it.
Yeah.
I think we have a lot of people who are following that principle where they've put some money to work in here. They know they might lose it or it might fluctuate a lot, but they're in it for the long haul. Excellent.
Well, today when Bitcoin went to 10,140, I remember the price. I actually bought a portion of a Bitcoin at 10,140. I watched it go down to 9,700, but people are like, oh, why did you do that? And I was thinking to myself, well, I don't intend to sell Bitcoin tomorrow or sometime this week. That fraction of Bitcoin that I bought, I'm willing to hold it for a while, as long as I really, so it's not like the volatility doesn't affect me because my focus is on the long term, not necessarily short-sighted. So I think that helps me in dealing with these times, like you were pointing out in the volatility chart. And I think a lot of people are curious about that historical of how January, February typically looks, not just from a chart perspective, but from someone who's like been in it a couple years, right? But you have. I mean, I've been around in the cryptocurrency space off and on, but someone like you who's been in it, no joke, like daily for at least over a year, where you're just tracking it. I mean, if we just go back to 2015, you've been really had your finger on the pulse, like every day. Whereas for me, I've only been doing that for maybe 8 months now, 9 months. So last January, February, I remember it was starting to take off. Bitcoin was starting to look like it was getting ready to move, but there was still some concerns inside the market, wasn't there?
Oh, always, because what you had last year, and there was a lot of uncertainty, guys. You had the SEC turning people down for the ETFs. You had a lot of uncertainty overseas about this, but the biggie was the forks. It was all the scaling issue. And for everybody who wasn't around last year in Bitcoin, and you just joined up recently, which, Jeff, what do you, just speaking of that, altcoin buzz, what do you say the percentages of the people that have just recently in the last 6 months started investing in any crypto or Bitcoin? Just a guess of our audience.
Over 50% of our audience base joined in December. Joined cryptocurrency straight up in December.
There you go. So know your audience. So guys, last year there was a huge scaling debate. This is what came out of it was Bitcoin Cash. And if you guys weren't involved with that, you may not know there was uncertainty hanging over Bitcoin for months in a row. Months and months and months. And at one point, of course, I know I'm talking to Jeff and calling him, and I'm like, wow, this thing just went over 4,000. I mean, I was amazed. I was amazed when it broke 2,000 and 4,000. Then when it went over 5,000, I thought, I don't know how much more this can go up this year. The rubber band was stretching. Like, little did I know, of course, it was going to go all the way to 20,000, but it was not any different for our audience, the people out there. If you were in this during that time, and I'm going to bring this out because this is what Candace said. If you guys want to have a long-term perspective and realize, be thrilled that it's at 10,000 right now, because the trajectory of this is fine. We're right on track. I think you said it the other day, Jeff, if we went to 8,000, or Shaylin said it when we were talking. Still, what if you're looking at mid or the end of the year and we're right back testing the all-time highs at 20? Are you going to really care, Jeff, if you bought at 8,000 or like today you bought at 10.1? I mean,
right. What's the difference if I buy at 8 or 10 if it's going up to 25,000?
Yeah.
I mean, just a couple $100.
And there's no way to tell, right? We're not,
Right.
Guys, one thing in trading, and I know Jeff's a big fan of this trading book that I love, Trading in the Zone. And one of the things that he's a market psychologist, one of the things he talks about in there is that you need to approach this and say to yourself, anything can happen. And are you good with that? Are you good with anything happening? First, putting your only money in there that you know you can lose. And secondly, then, keeping a little dry powder on the side. I know, Jeff, you've done that, where if we are in a long-term bull market, and you even say to yourself, this thing's going to take 2 to 5 years. You said it on a video today. You said, if I got to wait and recover my money and it takes a year or two, I'm fine with that. So what you're really saying, Jeff, is you believe this is a long-term bull market, that blockchain technology and the tech behind this is going to take over the world. And I think the same way. I think most things we use in the financial sector and in currency and trading and everything we do is going to be blockchain based, a cloud-based, blockchain based in the next 5 to 10 years. Well, that being said, we're in a long-term bull market. So, hey, you don't get spooked out of these little moves. Keep a little on the side so when we do have these dips, you can get involved in some good, solid companies.
I thought you were going to talk about how I like to play with some of these microtransaction coins that are trading under a penny, like that. People are always asking me about Ember coin. When the market was really strong, and I had just had like extra coins, just extra Litecoin laying around or whatever. Which was, I don't know, I put it out there. I said, I'm taking a little bit of a gamble on that Ember coin.
Yeah.
And it was a micro transaction, and I put in like a fraction of a Litecoin, and some way, somehow, other communities, including Reddit and other YouTubers, had caught on to the Ember coin thing. I still hold all of my Ember coin from that day, and I'm waiting for that thing to cross over to Chartis and become a GPS solution on the blockchain. Yeah. But I've done that with other coins too that I don't necessarily talk about. I'll just give you two that I've done that with. B3 coin. But it seems like with that, when I have that extra just funny money that I can put in the machine, that's definitely not my core. Like if you were to ask me how much of that I put in, it's literally less than 1%. Exactly. Literally less than 1%.
Yeah.
I don't put 10% of my portfolio in these gambles. I don't put, if I put in a fraction of a Litecoin, that's like $80.
Yep.
Okay. And if you were to add up my portfolio, $80 doesn't make up a very large portion. So if I'm doing things like that, they're just on the side. And I will personally tell you, I will never pump a coin and then dump a coin. After a month, I might consider selling it if it's up 1,000 times or something like that, or 100 times or 50 times. But I will never pump a coin and then turn around and dump it. Me personally, I won't do that.
No.
Number one is I don't want to be associated with that community that does that. Mm-hmm. I can understand why people do it. It's fun, but at 35 years old, I'm not interested in just taking people's easy money like that. It doesn't do anything for me personally. If I do take out a position like that, it interests me in the sense that I hope this thing goes to the moon, that a bunch of you guys to invest in a little small $10 can turn that $10 into $1,000 or whatever. That's the only thing that really interests me. Like even when I put in my $70, I'm not even so interested in making the money myself. I'm more like, well, I hope these guys on this channel that have been listening made out, That's why I still hold all my red coin. I still hold all my Ember coin. But that's the true answer that I can give. So, but I do that. Less than 1% of my portfolio would do something like that.
That's sound money management. I mean, that's good. That's what a lot of these VC guys do. They'll spread out their investment to 100 companies and hope that one of them becomes a Facebook, and they do. And then, of course, you look like a genius because you were one of the original investors in so-and-so. What What they
Yeah.
don't tell you is that they had 99 other investments that they put that 1% in and they went nowhere. But
Right.
the one goes to the moon, and that's fine. And that's why you diversify. And you just make sure, guys, that you don't put too much in there to where you can't buy food this week, or you can't sleep, or you can't make your car payment.
Oh, in fact, I wouldn't even do those risky gambles unless it was like funny money. Like if you've been really successful with the market, like don't try to necessarily gamble. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but for me, I would say I probably wouldn't recommend doing that. But then again, I mean, one of the things I don't want to get in the habit of doing is telling you what you can and cannot do.
Right.
But I will say that even myself, less than 1% of my portfolio is funny money like that. Like I would not take out a massive investment on something like Embercoin at that particular moment. Maybe as Embercoin evolves into something like with Chartis, where it becomes a successful GPS solution, then like you say, then we all look like geniuses because Embercoin turned into Chartis and that became like a massively successful company. By the way, I've actually gotten in touch with the Embercoin creator, or not the creator, I'm sorry, the CEO.
Yeah.
And so I talked to him, and it sounded like he was serious about his project and that they had big intentions for Chartis and Embercoin. So that's kind of exciting. I mean, I was kind of like, well, let me know if you guys are just kicking the can around, or if you're really going to do something. And he said, yeah, we're building this. So that could be interesting. I mean, we don't know where that thing will go, but being that I still hold my coins, and I know that a lot of you guys still do too, we'll see what ends up happening.
And percentage wise, say you put a small percentage, it's all relative out there for what you guys have, the size of your portfolio. But wow, how about waking up 2 or 3 years from now and finding out Embercoin's in the news? They got their new product released. It took them, their roadmap took them a year longer than they thought. But here, your investment is worth 5 times what you paid for it, 10 times what you paid for it, no matter the dollar amount. That's a good thing, guys. That's what you need to do. So speaking of you not wanting to tell people what to do, we got 2 things here. We got the Tether thing, and we got Facebook.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 news things that came out. And I know you and I have strong opinions on this. What are we on? Podcast episode 5. So this may be your last episode of listening to Jeff and I on the Altcoin Plus podcast. Which one do you want first?
Well, Tether.
Okay, Tether.
Well, my take on Tether is that I think it's a threat to the government because if you say that you have a digital dollar in the cryptocurrency space, I could see why the government, the Fed, whoever prints the U.S. dollars, whoever backs the dollar, the Federal Reserve, would look at something called USDT and say, oh, wow, this thing's got a $2 billion market cap, and in the bull market, look how much they use this Tether. And is it centralized? Who's behind it? And then when they start digging, they find, Bitfinex, and they find out who's behind it. So then they issued a subpoena, and it kind of becomes like, no, we're not going to let these characters take over the U.S. dollar as this cryptocurrency market goes to the moon potentially.
Yeah. Yeah. How about that? Now, on the other side of it, okay, and I'm going to play, this is a very naive comment. Okay, you guys ready? Now, don't write and call in because I really know what I'm talking. Yeah, this is going to be.
Okay.
What? He doesn't know how this works?
Let us have it. This
is way more complex than I'm going to make it right here. I'm just putting that's your disclaimer here. But on an audit, if Tether is doing what they say they're doing, and again, there's going to be multiple accounts and reasons and leverages and money sweeps and all kinds of ways. I realize that for all you financial gurus out there. But they if they have issued, what is it? Steve said it on the video. Is it 2 billion or is it 1 point? How much right now have they issued in Tether at this point?
Let's see here. Let me pull it up. I know they're at a $2 billion market cap. So
but
I don't know how many USDTs they have.
Yeah, how many USD
circulation
issued? But
they have over 2 billion.
Okay, so let's just, for round numbers, everybody can fact check us. It's fine. We're just trying to have a nice little talk here between a couple of dudes. But let's just call it 2 billion right now. If they've issued 2 billion tethers, then there ought to be a bank account that says 2 billion, right? On the audit.
There you go.
It's going to be multiple accounts. It's going to be all kinds of different investments and leverage off that. But at a traditional bank, that's backed by the Fed, they don't have 2 billion sitting in that bank. They're backed by the Fed, and that money is not sitting there.
Here's the thing: their circulating supply is 2 billion, right? It's 2,447 million, right? So that's less than 2.1 billion, and their total supply is 2.3 billion. So what happens if they're getting more price injection, more injection of cash? So their market cap has to stay pinned to $2 billion. So what happens to the excess cash if it ever comes in? And how do we know that it hasn't already?
Yeah.
Because they have to keep it pegged to the US dollar valuation, because if that thing went up to the $10 billion market cap, it's no longer pegged. So what happens to the excess? And right here it says 24-hour volume, 3.4 billion. So in USD, so their 24-hour volume exceeds their market cap. Explain that.
Where people buying and selling that back and forth, creating that volume. But here's the big statement, Tether: do the right thing, because if they will get audited properly, and they should have no problem getting audited properly, it'll take this uncertainty out of the whole equation. And this is, you hit on this a little while ago, Jeff. If you are in the crypto space as a new and upcoming company in development, you're Bitfinex, and this space being in its infancy, why would you shoot yourself in the foot and not do the right thing right now? Because this thing is only primed to grow. So do an audit, and you're going to make more money by doing the audit. If they hang on and do this correctly for the next couple of years, they're going to be bigger and better than they ever even started. So Bitfinex ought to want to do the right thing at this point for people. Again, money supply in the U.S. right now, just stuff that's in bank accounts or money market funds and all that, is in the trillions. That's just sitting there. So this amount pales according to that. People shouldn't get too freaked out. But when you have just what you said right there, let's just say there's 2 billion Tether out there at this point, $2 billion in the crypto space right now on what we call a market cap of 400 or 500 billion is a big deal. It's a big percentage. It's not a big percentage if you look at overall markets, money market funds, stock accounts, and even US dollars cash in circulation that's out there. There's a ton of money out there. But, I just say, do the right thing. Take the uncertainty out of this, and we're all going to do better. That's my comment to Tether. Might be naive. Might
provide some transparency. Show them the skeletons in the closet. Let everyone know what's been going on, and then keep existing as Tether, doing what it's been doing instead of resisting. Right?
Yeah, and don't get me wrong.
Resisting the government and the crackdown and
the Fed needs audited and as corrupt as can be as far as it goes. I think we all know the U.S. dollar is melting in what it'll buy, and that, so it's not like you got a great alternative. But here, with everything that's going on with the economy, tax cuts, the repatriation of funds coming back in the U.S., we're probably going to have a strong dollar this year. And, you know, they have a big chance here. That's all I'm saying. You guys see where we're coming at with this on that. Now, okay, so we're big on transparency. You're big on free markets, Jeff. You and I have talked a whole lot. Talk about this Facebook thing. Talk about what's happening with them and what the news came out. There's a video on it today on Altcoin Buzz. What do you think of the news?
Well,
think of the Zuck's moves.
I think Zuck is one of the reasons why he is in the position that he's in is because he's very intelligent and he's highly educated and he knows what he's doing. And I think he's also very highly connected and protected. And he does step on toes, but he usually gets to step on toes and get away from that. So he uses his power in a way that appears as though he cares about the people, right? I mean, that's one of the things that's his overall persona. His character is this guy who's here to usher in this social renaissance digitally, this digital social renaissance, right? So with him doing that, he always wants to appear to you to fit that character. And so he announced that he's going to do cryptocurrencies, and now he bans cryptocurrencies today. And so people are like, hey, what's going on here? One day you're wanting to explore cryptocurrencies, and now here today, you're going to shut down cryptocurrencies, period, from doing any business on your platform. And you're like, well, I thought you wanted to explore cryptocurrencies and kind of embrace the decentralized aspect. But now you're saying, nope, none of you guys can do that. We're going to take that away from those guys, the free market, so to speak, and we're going to work on that in-house for our audience only. It's not going to. So I guess you could say, what's going on here? So you just want to do it yourself and do the blockchain yourself and keep all the competition off your platform. I guess he can do that though, right?
He can do it.
He's allowed to. He obviously did. Yeah.
I guess he can. I just don't understand if people. You and I like free markets. I like free markets. Like I like
competition, or so to speak.
You bet. And if Facebook is going to make me boost my post by paying money, I know you know a lot about this, and have been very successful with Facebook. If they're going to offer that service, if you pay and boost this post, you're going to get it in front of more eyes of people you know, friends, people who have signed up for your page, for your interest in that. And then now they're telling me, oh, there's only certain kinds. I guess they have that right to say, oh, we're only going to allow certain kinds of businesses to do that. But I think, once again, it's shooting themselves in the foot, because free markets are going to find a way. People are going to go to another platform that lets them advertise to people.
Here's the biggest thing that I take away from this. Facebook owns all of this competition outside of YouTube. Right. I mean, they own WhatsApp. If you just do a simple Google search, top social media platforms on planet Earth,
Instagram.
The top three are Facebook, WhatsApp, and Facebook Messenger. And that's not even including Instagram, which is another one of their products.
Yep.
So outside of Snapchat, which I like Snapchat. I just had a hard time trying to figure out how to use Snapchat. So for me, I like Facebook. I think it's a very powerful platform for media. Although the thing that has been a little bit of a frustration for me is the fact that they kind of strong arm people out of the way, right? So they don't embrace the free market. They're just like, oh, competition. Let's let's buy them if they don't want us, anyway. So I think, like I said, I have a great deal of respect for Zuckerberg and what he's achieved. It's just I think that it would be nice to get a little bit more understanding about what his intentions are with blockchain and cryptocurrency, and what he intends to do for the the people that are working in that ecosystem. I mean, I would like to think that he's not looking at the whole entire cryptocurrency market and saying, well, I'm just going to take it over and do it here over on Facebook and my platforms, and we're going to run it like that, and that whole cryptocurrency market, bye.
Do you think
Thanks for showing me the tech. Huh?
Do you think it's that, or do you think it's they're worried about this regulation coming down on ICOs and, you know, I don't even want to say it, but things like
to be fair to him, it could be. He could totally really just be like, hey, like there's a lot of scams going on with these ICOs, you know, and that's totally a great point. I'm glad you mentioned that.
And maybe they're scared of that, but I still have a little problem with that, Jeff, because of, you know, I'm not a smoker. I don't like to smoke. But I think if people want to smoke and they want to buy cigarettes, that the government shouldn't tell them they can't. Again, you know, I don't want to go anywhere and have smoke blown in me, but that person wants to do that. And where does it end? Well, I tell you, it didn't end with smoking cigarettes. Now, if you're in New York, you can't buy a certain size beverage of a soft drink because the sugar content.
Right.
So now, you know,
oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that happened years ago. And then, so where does that end? What if I have a certain beverage or a food and, hey, that's been deemed not good for me. So now that's regulated out. I can't buy that. I just don't know where the line is. And I don't know where the line is on Facebook. If they say, well, you can't, if you're an ICO, what do they rate them? Jeff, how about crowdfunding?
So they just say no ICOs.
Yeah.
No ICOs, no crowdfunding. So does that mean that what are some of the Indiegogo,
which
Kickstarter?
I love those platforms. I give.
What are those? What do people raise money for on there? I've seen some silly stuff on there.
You know, stuff that, okay, here you go. I've used Kickstarter for years. I don't even know. I wish I knew right now off the top of my head when's the first Kickstarter I did, but I love the platform. I've used Indiegogo for years. I have stuff that I have funded, crowdfunded, been a part of, that I haven't gotten yet. I ordered it, put my money in, bought it, and I took a risk. And I'm gonna give this crowdfunding platform the credit really for why I appreciate this space and in crypto, because it just makes sense to me. Because when you do these crowdfunds on Kickstarter, you get rid of the bank. You don't need to worry about the bank. You go straight to the customer. And so on Kickstarter, it all gets funded and you have a good story and you invest in the people behind it and hopefully get your product delivered. And I've even launched a Kickstarter, a book campaign for my friend. And it was very successful. Yeah. And we delivered and everybody got their product and they were very happy and we gave them bonuses. But we took the bank out of that equation. So I don't know. Central banks got to be nervous of that. Regular banks, everybody involved has to be nervous now that people can just bypass them and they can just go straight to the customer. And there's going to be messes involved with that. Crowdfunding is not always perfect. And I'm still waiting on my pen that will help me write in the middle of the air and it'll show up on my iPad. But those founders and those people producing and the tech behind it, they send emails all the time. And they say, well, we're still working on it. We're at this stage of development. We're in this part of the project. And you're going to get your pen. But it's just going to take a lot longer than we thought. Well, that's the risk I took, and I like it. I like that concept. I like that about crypto.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we can compare Indiegogo and ICOs, right? But no. I guess that's an extreme comparison. But
conceptually, the fact that people are allowed, when they are allowed to say, this is my money, and I want to, pick something you and I really love, that we both love on an ICO. Or really love, but I love rivets. Me and you are both involved in rivets. I think it's
right.
I think
mobile security.
Yeah, the encryption in the chip is amazing. the chip in your smartphone being encrypted to where it can disassociate from the operating system. So you could securely hold your private keys on your chip in your smartphone through the rivets technology. I believe in that tech. I like the team. I like everything about it. Went into the rivets ICO. I should be allowed. This is a free market. If I want to put my money in that and take the risk that maybe they're not able to pull it off, but somebody else down the line is, well, that's the risk I took. But it's just like these smokers or people want to eat all the Doritos that they can buy. Fine. You want to do that, do it. I don't want
to Facebook's defense, it could come back onto them where they were like, because Facebook has had some issues that happened where Russia was buying ads for presidential campaigns.
Sure.
And
wait, I never.
Then it could come back where.
Wait, Jeff, when did that happen? I didn't know about that.
Right,
Russia?
you'd have to be living under a rock not to hear about that.
Yeah, maybe that'll be another podcast number 6.
There you go. You want to talk about Russia and Trump? That would be. I wonder if people would listen to us if we talked about the American politics.
Oh no! Here's the thing: we would just we think we've been called stuff this week on Facebook. On
right.
YouTube in the comments. I'd be begging for people to call me Mr. Rogers after all that.
Oh really? Oh
we
yeah.
started talking.
Well, I'm sure some people learned some stuff here on this podcast from you where they're like, "Oh, thanks, Mr. Rogers." Maybe that's your new nickname.
No.
Blockchain Rogers, or people still think I'm trying to be like gangster about calling myself Blockchain J. What I'm doing is, I thought when someone was calling themselves Crypto Joe or Crypto Jimmy, I thought that was pretty, because Crip walking, the Crips, I'm like, oh, shoot, Crypto Jimmy. And I'm like, Crypto John or Crypto Bobby, well, by the way, Crypto Bobby's, we've been in touch with Crypto Bobby, so we might get a interview going with him.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, Jet,
that's what I've heard. That's what I heard.
Bobby, I watched his Tether video today. It was fabulous.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Crypto Bobby's the man. He does those,
great job.
Those happy hours.
Yeah. No, and he's in tech.
Speaking of that, I think we should give some shout outs to some of our favorite YouTube channels.
Yeah.
I really like who does a really good job that I haven't really talked about? Crypto Investor.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you can look up his channel, Crypto Investor, but he called the Tether stuff 3 days ago. Now obviously we can't get into the habit of thinking that someone's got a crystal ball, right? But Crypto Investor, he's got his finger on the pulse, and he's definitely someone that you should subscribe to.
Nice.
I just put that out there. But Crypto Bobby's another guy that I've got a lot of respect for. Obviously, we've talked about Superman. Got a lot of respect for him.
How about Box Mining?
Yeah, man, he gets out there and goes to those conferences, and if you want to be right there at those conferences, Box Mining, he gets in there and he does the work, and he puts it out there like no one else can.
Yeah.
So, Data Dash is another one who has been doing that. David Hay.
Yeah.
So
I have recently watched some of his. Appreciate his approach to things, level-headed on that. I think guys.
I'm sure I'm missing a couple.
Yeah,
there's one guy I got to give a shout out to though. Hold on. There's one guy. There's a guy that has been around. He's been in the game for a while. YLGV. I got to give a shout out to YLGV.
Nice. Where do you find him?
I don't think I've never. He's on YouTube. YLGV.
Okay.
So I got to give him a special mention.
Okay.
He doesn't know I'm doing that for him, but he's pretty cool. I say that because he's got some real interesting insights that can be valuable.
I like it. Well, and
he's a young guy, but he's got a lot of interesting insights that can be valuable to people.
I'll give everybody on Steam a shout out because you guys want a platform that's got some solid people and community that are positive, and they're looking out for each other and not getting all caught up in all this craziness. Good community If you haven't signed up for Steemit, get out there and get your username. Sign up for a Steemit account.
Who else on Steemit? Like you've talked to me about a couple guys who've been teaching you how to use Steemit. And
oh yeah, we'll give Brandon Fry a shout out. We got to give Steemaze a shout out for helping him on the team. Gosh, I'm sorry. I know there's Stacking's been doing us good. It's hard on Steemit because I could literally go through 99% of the comments and people are excited about crypto as an investment. They're level-headed about it. They're just in it for the long haul. It's just a great crowd. And this is just because I'm so involved with this, guys, but there's a lot of other things on Steemit besides crypto if you have hobbies. So good community. I do need to do a fact check before we go here. This isn't as much a fact check, but I had time to pull this down. All the coins and banknotes in the world right now is approximately 7.6 trillion. 7.6 trillion.
What?
Yeah. All the banknotes. Yeah. That's just coins and banknotes. Now the world's gold is at 7.7.
That's paper.
Yeah. Liquid money, coins and banknotes out there right now, paper money. Just paper money.
Because a lot okay. Tell me that in your fact sheet that you're going to have digital.
Oh yeah. We got digital on there for sure. Because they're comparing cryptocurrency to the world's wealth, to people's wealth, to California's wealth. So just California's GDP is 2.9 trillion. The 50 richest people right now, aggregate, I don't want to take time to rattle off their names, but they're 1.9 trillion. So look at that, guys. Crypto right now is only 400 or 500 billion. Just the 50 richest people in the world are 1.9 trillion. This is backing up Jeff's comments about, can there be manipulation? Is this space new? Well, no, it's very in its infancy. The amount of the world's gold, this is I don't know what year this stat was, but spot price being 1275, so it's pretty accurate. 7.7 trillion in gold in the world. Global stock markets. Wow. Global market capitalization of all the world's stock markets is equal to 73 trillion. 38% of that is the US. So look at the size of this, guys. Global money supply. Here's your one that you guys are going to want to know of. The total value of the world's easily accessible money is 36.8 trillion. So that's all the coins, the banknotes, and the checking deposits.
Say that one more time.
Okay, all the world's easily accessible money, including coins, paper money, notes, the dollar, or your other currencies that are in paper, cash, and checking deposits on checking in the world, 36.8 trillion.
Okay.
Yeah. Broad money, the total value of all the world's money, including coins, banknotes, money market accounts, as well as savings, checking, and time deposits. 8% of that is physical, and 92% of that is non-physical. That value is at $90.4 trillion.
There you go.
90.4 trillion. How about that? So,
but there's also more money being created.
There absolutely
there's inflation.
Is. Yeah, exactly. There sure is. But
now here's the thing that I don't think that they factor in, that could be factored into this metrics. As these developing countries create wealth and become wealthy, like Africa, for instance, there's 1 billion people in Africa.
Right.
Let's say Africa was to achieve, some of the countries were to achieve first world status, right?
Right.
In terms of economy over the next 100 years. And that's not too impossible to suggest, because we've seen that happen with Singapore. Singapore used to be a developing nation where people would say it's too hot, it's too muggy. And then all of a sudden, now look at Singapore. Now that's a small nation state, but we're seeing that in other developing countries like Thailand, for example. Bangkok is emerging. So what if some of these countries in Africa, because of this financial renaissance that we're having, become like, it would be like, we've seen that with Dubai. I mean, Dubai with oil money in the last 20 years has grown out of the desert, Abu Dhabi right down the road, right? So what's going to happen when some of these developing countries over the next 50 years, thanks to the opportunities that the digital money creates and brings to them, doesn't add new wealth? What if half of the world population held a nice portion of wealth, comparable to what the Western and Asian societies hold?
Right. Would there be more wealth creation then, is what you're saying, out of these countries?
I think there would have to be, wouldn't there?
Yeah. No, you'd have more production.
Yeah.
More wealth creation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And guys,
so that's something that's one of the things that I look forward to with cryptocurrency.
Yes. And valuation wise,
is the opportunity.
Yeah. If it's a store, if Bitcoin's a store of value, Jeff, gold, you can mine more gold. You can absolutely mine more gold. There's ways and there's technologies developing. Just go back. Okay. When we're kids, they thought all along, oh, there's only this much oil. Oh, but then we had an emerging technology called fracking. Now all of a sudden, the U.S. is almost energy independent because of fracking, and we found out we can get more oil. We can get more oil from shale. Technology that came about that caused, this is highlighting exactly what you're saying. There was more wealth creation because of that emerging technology. We were able to have lower cost oil. Well, and you just make more things and you do more stuff. How about with gold? They can develop ways to get more gold out of the ground, and have and will, and they'll continue to be more. But what is something that is absolutely finite, fixed supply that they are not going to mine more of? Bitcoin.
Well, at some point.
As a store of value. Now, you have, of course, right now, you and I know 1,500 other companies that have issued these coins, these tokens, these crowdfunding mechanisms, these VC vehicles, whatever you want to call this entire space. But that pales into the amount of companies in the world, into the amount of, even the amount of sectors out there in business. There's way more sectors than that. It's a baby, it's an infant. And if you compare this to like we're doing to the entire money supply of the world, or even, my goodness, just California's GDP alone. I mean, the Fed balance sheet at this point is 3.5 trillion. So,
wow.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. Everybody's getting spooked out for a little bit of money moving back and forth on Bitcoin. Be in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
Be in it for the
I think that's the mantra. That's the best advice. Take a long-term approach, and you've always stressed that. I know you've always stressed that since even when Bitcoin was trading below $400.
We're in this for the long haul for sure. Jeff, just tell people how to get a hold of everybody on the team and where to go. I'll give a couple. You give a couple.
Well, right now I just say to keep up with. I'm consistently posting on Twitter.
Yes,
that's where you like to hang out on Steemit. I like Steemit, but you're running that, so I'm staying out of your lane. I'm big on Twitter, so you can follow us on Altcoin Buzz IO. We also have Candace now managed. If you're a lady and you like to keep up with cryptocurrency, or if your wife or girlfriend likes to keep up with cryptocurrency, they can follow ABuzz Ladies. And so ABuzz_ladies. And Candace is building that platform for the women. It's not segregation. It is just a place where women can really feel comfortable and meet up with other ladies who like to talk crypto.
And you're all about the ladies, right, Jeff? I mean, you want to see them become entrepreneurs and get in the space, prosper, and be leaders. That's great. I
think it's also going to bring more money into the market, but also more of a community. It's going to make it's going to make crypto more friendly, really. Right now, we just got a bunch of testosterone flying around left and right. And yeah, I think bringing some ladies in is going to calm down some of that aggression we see. Maybe it won't, maybe it doesn't, but who cares, right? It's all life. But yeah, bringing women into cryptocurrency is a great idea overall.
Yeah, I think people misunderstood that last podcast because you were actually fully in support of that, and be looking out for that as she's developing it. I know that there was a lot of comments about, well, what about Patientory's CEO? She's a woman, and this one's a woman, this one's a woman. Yeah, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
That's why you guys are out there to bring this as this is altcoin buzz, as in the buzz from you guys in the comments helps all the other people in the altcoin buzz army. I mean, this is a group effort.
It's a community.
It's a community, and we don't know all the answers, and we don't claim to have all the answers. This is why we do this together, so we can all be smarter. Come on. Other platform, you guys can go to altcoinbuzz.io and click on all the links to all the other social media. But Jeff does a phenomenal job
on our website.
Twitter, yeah, exactly.
Altcoinbuzz.io. Yeah, all of our stuff that you can access is on our website.
You can link to
Is there a Steemit link yet?
Oh yeah, I think there's Steemit link.
Okay.
But gosh,
podcast,
everything. Oh, iTunes. So if you guys can, please, you're listening to this Altcoin Buzz podcast. We're new, up and coming, episode 5. Please hit subscribe and share it with your friends, and leave us a review. We already got some cool reviews on here. Yeah, they leave a review.
Also,
go ahead.
Let us know if iTunes is the best place that they like to listen to, because, correct me if I'm wrong, but iTunes is only iOS. So right. I've heard that SoundCloud is pretty good, and that doesn't matter if you have an Android or an iOS.
Right. And some people I know do that on there. I was just going to give a shout out to our people from episode 1 through 4 on iTunes, that they gave us some love. Really appreciate these guys. We had
15 reviews.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even know 15. There wasn't that many when I checked last time.
We went from 8 to 15.
Shoot. Yep. Yeah, we're smoking up there. Yeah, so let's do that on the ratings reviews. I'm going to pick somebody out here, and big shout out to GCM fan, Crypto Mentors, Doffman can. Oh, he did. This is what this guy said, that we were his crypto mentors. Chronic Guru. Shout out to Chronic Guru. Bayazan, Jerry K, Fed. I don't see any comments about blockchain. What did they call you? Blockchain.
Blockchain J.
No. Altcoin FUD. Is that?
Jeff from Altcoin FUD.
Yeah, Jeff. I don't see that on here. We got some cool people on iTunes. So, yeah, guys, we're going to wrap it up. This has been Altcoin Buzz Podcast, episode 5. Thank you so much for going on iTunes and hitting subscribe and moving us up the new Northworthy. Get this to more people. And thanks, Altcoin Buzz Army. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you. See ya.